Hello and welcome to Health Bites. I'm Dr. Lisa Schuster, and for this episode I'm going to be talking about discrepancies in leg length, also known as either a short leg or a long leg. You probably heard of this, where a person says, oh, I definitely notice when I get my pants hemmed that one leg is longer or shorter than the other. And you're probably wondering, well, how does that happen? And there are a few different reasons why, so let's go over that and also talk about some of the ways that our body compensates and what we can do for it. So, when you have one leg that is either longer or shorter than the other, there are a couple different reasons. One could be actually structurally a bone is a little bit longer or twisted in a little bit way. So let's first talk about the hip bone, also known as the femur. The femur goes from the pelvis and goes all the way down to the knee. It's a long shafted bone, and that can actually be a little bit longer. And you can actually measure that through the x-ray, or as a person's laying down and they bend their knees, you can actually see that that bone is a little bit longer, and you can do a tape measure and measure it that way. Sometimes that femur, the bone isn't just long, it's more that where the femur hooks into the pelvis, that has a little bit of a different angle. So if that angle is a little bit off, that too can make the leg a little bit longer as well. Then the second part is the tibia. The tibia is one of the bones that goes from the knee all the way into the ankle. And you can also measure that if you're laying on your back and the knees are bent, and you can see that the knees also are not even. One is longer than the other. So that's letting us know that either the shaft of the bone is longer, or sometimes the shaft might be curved a little bit more, and that can make a change in the length of your leg. And then the third part structurally is your foot. You might have your foot is flat or have other kind of bony injuries that you've had in the past, or you might have been born with something with your foot. So those are the three different parts of you that can structurally, anatomically be off, and so that's one way that you can have your leg lengths be longer or shorter than the other. The other is actually where you have the functional. Functional typically is with your hips. You have what is called the pelvis, and the pelvis are these different bones, and they can be twisted. And they can be twisted because your abdominal muscles or the buttock muscles in the back. It could be because of, believe it or not, if you have a bone out of place in your foot. So there's a lot of different reasons why there's rotation. There's a functional reason that you will be twisting those pelvic bones, and then what is emanating from that are the different structures that go to become your leg, your femur, your tibia, and your foot. So if there's functional twisting of the pelvis, then that can make it seem like you've got a short leg when it's not structural. The bones aren't longer, it's more that there's functional rotation. So typically what happens is, whether it's structural or functional, your body will compensate because of this discrepancy in the leg length. And what will your body do? Well, one thing is you might be leaning towards the shorter leg. If you're leaning towards a shorter leg, that's to help the longer leg move through. Another thing that you might do is you might take that longer leg and move it in a funny circular motion, again to allow that long leg to move through as you're walking. The other thing that might happen is you might take that longer leg and you might bend your knee a little bit more on that side. And then another thing you might do is you might actually hike your hip up higher to help structurally. So the main thing is that your body is always trying to be in balance, and whether it's anatomical or something functional that's making one leg shorter than the other, your body's going to compensate. And so you might have pain in your foot, in your knee, in your hip. It could go into your back, even up the spine into the neck because of all the compensating that you're doing. Because your body is compensating, you could be having pain at different parts of your body. What can you do? Well, first of all, you can definitely go to your chiropractor, start to get adjustments on a more regular basis because you are compensating for this short or long leg. The other thing is, a lot of times chiropractors will give you a heel lift. And heel lifts can either be made out of cork, they might be made more of a rubbery substance. There's different substances, there's different sizes, different thicknesses. A lot of times you put that into the shoe of the short leg. Sometimes if a person has a very severe discrepancy because of like a scoliosis, really, really bad, or really one leg is so much longer than the other, they can go to shoemaker and they can actually put a heel on the actual shoe itself. Alright, I hope you found that helpful, talking to you about why you would have a difference in your leg length. I'm Dr. Lisa Schuster for Health Bites. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or email me.